Yeah. Yes. UNA. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everybody, to the UNA University, UNARepublic open session. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri, representing for UNA University and UNARepublic. Today I have this session and it is inspired. Now all of our sessions are inspired, but I want to take this time out to give thanks to the universe for allowing me to share this information and having such wonderful people who are supporters of what we're doing here with UNA University and UNARepublic. Thank you for being such beautiful people, such wonderful supporters. Thank you. And thank you, universe, for these beautiful people who are allowing me to give this information to them. All right, now, what are we going on today? Before I start that, please note UNA University is in session for spring 2023. This is your last opportunity to enroll. So leave your name and number so that we can get you involved in the university, get you enrolled. The consultation is free. So by people in TikTok, go ahead and leave your name and number in the inbox, or you can go to unauniversity.com and there's a link there for you to enroll. All right, leave your name and number there, and we're going to call you and give you a free consultation so we can see if we're the right fit for each other. That's what we're doing. All right, so leave us a message so we can get you involved in the university. All right, we've got Back to Basics this season, which is dealing with putting your private self under trust. We have History and Self-Mastery. This deals with the universal laws and how important it is to understand the power in your energies that are coming out in this universe. All right, we also have Business Asset Management, where we're showing you how to create your umbrella corporation, and then you're putting everything under trust. Your house, your children, your car, your business, everything is going under trust. That's what Business Asset Management is, and learning how to incorporate all of that. All right, so and one other thing, for my people who have purchased the physical book, those are coming in as we speak. You have been sent an email. Check your email and make sure you confirm your address. So thank you all for supporting my people in YouTube and people in TikTok. Thank you so much. So make sure you confirm your address, your mailing address, so we can make sure we get it to the right people. So let's get it going. Now, what are we talking about today? Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau, switching roles or changing roles. All right. I wanted to go into this. This is once again, this is an inspired discussion because of the simple fact that whenever I do research, I'm noticing just this cyclical phase of this dimension. I keep seeing it because I do the research and I know it's there. So I want to go into that story. It's a biblical story about Jacob and Esau. Jacob and Esau, and what went down with Jacob and Esau, and how things are cyclical today. Now, I heard this session. It was talking about Jacob and Esau, and it just reminded me of what's going on today. So let's get into it. For those of y'all who are not aware, there's Jacob and Esau, which were sons, if I'm not mistaken, of Abraham, all right, or of Isaac. They were sons of Isaac. They were twins. Now, from Jacob is where the 12 tribes of Israel are said to have come from the Jacob lineage. All right, and then you got the 12 tribes of Israel. And then Esau is known to be, a lot of people, your scholars would say Esau were the Albions, and that's where they came from. So Jacob and Esau were twins, but there was Esau, who was the light-skinned one with furry skin, and then there's Jacob is the dark-skinned one, all right? And in this story, you've got Jacob, who has tricked his father into giving him, so Jacob is the dark one, he's tricked his father into giving him the inheritance that was promised to Esau, which is the light-skinned one. Esau is the older son. He's the older son, and Jacob was the younger dark-skinned son, Esau being the light-skinned son. And there was an inheritance of land that was promised to Esau. But Jacob tricked his father by putting on his skin, because his father, by the way, was blind. Jacob's and Esau's father was blind. So what happened is Jacob, wanting the inheritance, he and his mother plotted to get the inheritance from Esau to Jacob. So Jacob puts on lamb's fur on his skin to trick his blind father into believing that Jacob was Esau. So what he does is he goes in, and knowing his father is dying, his father is blind, Jacob goes into his father's room and he says to him, hey, he changes his voice or what have you, and disguised himself as his older brother Esau. Even though they were twins, I want to make that clear, his brother was just born first. And so what he does is he goes into the room and his father says, Esau, is that you? Esau, is that you? And Jacob says, yes, I am Esau. And he has disguised himself with this wool or this fur on his arm. And his father says to him, come here, let me feel you. And he goes to his father, and his father feels his arms, and he says, okay, you're my son. And so he goes into giving the estate or the inheritance, giving his blessings of the inheritance. And so he says to Jacob, who was disguised as Esau, all right, all of the land is yours. The inheritance is yours. This I bequeath to you. And so he gives the inheritance that was intended for Esau to Jacob. Now, I want y'all to understand that Jacob, according to my research, that term means to steal or to steal, abscond. And so, of course, y'all know, those of y'all who know the story, you know that Jacob went on to be called Israel once he had his rebirth, if you will. All right. So why am I talking about this, and what does this have to do with today, Diva? Okay, I'm getting into it. I need you to pay attention. When Jacob goes in to receive the inheritance, the father asks him, are you Esau? Or what is your name? And he says, I am Esau, to entitle himself to an inheritance that really belonged to Esau. Jacob said he was Esau because he wanted entitlement to an inheritance. I need you to keep that in mind and pay attention to what I'm talking about today. All right. And how history and all that switches. All right. So now, with that being said, I need you to understand that there was a disguise, all right? And that someone said that they were someone who they were not in order to gain entitlement to an inheritance. All right, so what does that have to do with today? I talk to you all often about, when we go back in history, we understand what these titles that we're taking on really mean. And these titles I'm speaking about today are black and white and American Indian. All right. Those are the main ones. And I'm going to go into a specific form that I speak about all of the time. But what we're talking about here is how taking on a title gives you an inheritance, and not taking on that title does not give you that inheritance. So the name that you call yourself is what's going to allow you to tap into the inheritance or not. So in going back to the Jacob and Esau story, because Jacob took on a title, which was Esau, in order to gain an inheritance, he was able, and then his father couldn't take it back. All right. Once you call yourself that title, then that's what inheritance you have, you are entitled to. All right. Going into today, when we're looking at terms like black and white and American Indian. All right. And then I'm going to show you guys the SF 181 form that I'm talking about. So I want to go ahead and see if I can put this up real quick for my people in YouTube, because this is playing an important role in the titles that we're calling ourselves, and why it's important to recognize why you're giving up your inheritance. Able to see what I'm showing here, because this is very important. The SF 181 form, S as in Sam, F as in Frank, 181 form, and understanding what it is. Like and share, by the way. Like and share and follow. You can see this. I think this is it. This is the SF 181 form. All right. Now, the racial ethnicity form for the Internal Revenue Service. Now, I want y'all to understand something about this form. This is a federal form, meaning that, you have an estate, and the U.S. corporation is the one who is the fiduciary over your estate. Now, when your mother signed the birth certificate, she created money, and the U.S. corporation borrows these funds from the federal government, and they cannot just do whatever they want to do with the funds. There is an estate that is there for you, and you have the right to claim it. But depending on the name that you claim, that's going to determine how much of the estate is granted to you. The SF 181 form is what is used to declare your ethnicity. This is what determines, once again, how much of your inheritance you get. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to what's going on and going back to the titles. Federal, by the way, means a covenant with God. Federal means a covenant with God. And this form is federal in that when your estate is created, there is a responsibility, because these funds are provided to you by what would be considered God, because God gives you an inheritance. Well, what ends up happening is that when these funds go into an estate, there is a fiduciary that we know of as the United States Corporation that is supposed to grant you your estate to make sure you're taken care of. Well, now let's get into this, because what happens is we've got these titles here. By law, they have to provide for you if you have a Social Security number. By law, the U.S. corporation does. However, what you call yourself is going to determine how much of your estate that you have to be given. Now, what you're looking at is the 5 different categories that are on this form called SF 181. At the top, American Indian or Alaskan Native. Then the next one is Asian. The next one is Black or African American. The next one is Native, Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. The last one is White. Now, the reason why I entitled this session Jacob and Esau, switching places or changing places, is because the same way back then there was a changing of the places where the dark brother took on the identity of the light brother. Here's the same thing going on. Now, I want to go into these terms black and white and how they have been switched. When we look up the term black, we will find that the term black originally meant pale and without color, and it still does today. The etymology of the term black means pale and without color, and it still means that today. It was not a term that was applied to melanated people because it has to do with status, first of all. Secondly, it has, if we're talking about what it describes, the description of the term black originally was some being that is pale and without color. That does not describe melanated people. And I need to make it clear. It says a person, and those of y'all who, but it says a person having origins in any of the black racial groups of Africa. Listen up. I need y'all to understand that originally what we know of as Africa was not Africa. That was Europe. And then what we know of as today was not Europe, it was Africa. Once again, switching of the places. Now, before what you know of as Africa and Middle East and Asia, before that, that whole territory was Ethiopia. Before that, it was all Asia. Y'all got to look it up and you'll find this for yourself. But you got to understand that the terms continuously are flipped in history. When you understand what's going on, first of all, the term black, and they're now they're saying the black racial groups. All right, but a black racial groups were your Albions. And there's a reason why they were called black, and it has nothing to do with skin color. It had to do with a status, because even if we go back, we also understand that the term black means pale and without color. It's got nothing to do with darkness, really. But that's what this English language, because it has become known as a dark color. Now we see the color black and we think dark, but really that's not where it came from. That's not the origin of it. And if you're talking about a black racial group, you're talking about your Albions. And when you're talking about your white people, let's go on that. White. We're down here at the bottom. White. What does white mean? A person having origins in any of the original Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. And we've talked about this before, because the original peoples of Europe were dark skinned. They were melanated people. As a matter of fact, I talk about this, but Europe comes from the name of a melanated queen, Queen Europa. That's who it was named after. When you're talking about your Europeans, you're talking about your Moroccans, your people from Tunis, Algiers. You're talking about your people from Britain, Morocco. Those are your original Europeans. They were dark-skinned people. So we're talking about this color white here at the bottom. And once again, you all can see it here. The people of the Middle East, even to this day, people of the Middle East are melanated people. And then going on, your people of North Africa, those are melanated people. So when we're talking about your white, so-called white people, those are melanated. Originally, that term was applied to melanated people. Now, I want to go back in history to the 70s and before. At that time, your so-called Albions, and when I say Albion, I'm talking about the people who a lot of people know as white. Albions did not call themselves white back then. Going back then, they called themselves where they came from. They said, I'm Sicilian, I'm Irish, I'm German. You know, I'm whatever it is, that's what they would call themselves. They wouldn't say I'm white. That is a new term that they have started to take on, because your original white people were people who y'all know of today as Moors. Yeah, white people, Moors. Your original Europeans, Moors. People from Tunis, Algiers, Tripoli, I want to say Brazil, but Britain. Those were your original melanated people. All right. So why is that? Am I bringing that up? Because now you got melanated people taking on the term black, when the truth is the vast majority of melanated people in the Americas are indigenous to America. But when you take on this term, then you get less of your inheritance. So once again, I want to go back to saying this. What are you calling yourself? What you call yourself is going to determine how much of the inheritance that the trustee has to give you. They got to give you something. But when you claim to be black, you're going to get the least of your inheritance. But here you got light-skinned people. They have taken on this term white. What does white mean? White means ruler of land, purity of blood. And actually, white means a ruler. White means purity of blood and owner of land. That's what white means. Those were originally melanated people. And now you've got the Albion taking on that term. and you got melanated people taking on the lowest term, when the truth is that they are really the American Indian, or the original, I wouldn't say American Indian, but they're original people of the land. And the reason why that's important is because, when you are at the status of a Native American, then you are somebody who gets title to land. You get entitlement to the land. But if you don't call yourself that, then you have no entitlement. But here you got light-skinned people who are from clearly another place. Not only will they call themselves white, but they'll call themselves American Indian. They will claim that they have inheritance or some kind of lineage coming from the original people. Well, here's the deal. What did they claim? Because they're claiming an inheritance that's not necessarily theirs. Whereas melanated people are not claiming or denying entitlement by taking on the term black. As we know, black is the lowest status. And as claiming the lowest status, then you get the least amount of the benefits or the access to your inheritance. I hope I have made this clear and y'all understand. This SF 181 form, go and pull it now. Now I want to show one other thing in this, because some people are saying to me, nah, the white people is the white. That's what they supposed to be, the white. Okay. Then I want you, once again, going back to history. In the 70s, the Albion did not call themselves white. They will tell you where they're from. I'm from Sicily. I'm from Ireland. I'm from Germany. I'm from wherever the light-skinned people come from. I want you to pay attention to all of the names on this list. Y'all go and pull it down in TikTok. But I'm going to call them out. You got your original people of North America and South America, which would be your melanated people, mostly of your melanated people here. You got people from the far east of South Asia, India subcontinent, Cambodia, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Pakistan, Philippine Islands, Thailand Islands, Vietnam. All right, you got a person of the black racial groups of Africa, which doesn't really exist, but that's what they want to call it. Then you got Hawaii, Guam, Samoa, other Pacific islands. And then you have a person of the origins of the people of Europe, which are the original people, rather. And it says original peoples, which were melanated. The Middle East, which are melanated. And then North Africa, which were melanated. Now, does anybody see the names that are not on this list? Do you see Germany on this list? Do you see Sicily, Ireland? Do you see any of the places where light-skinned people are really known to come from on this list? Because when you see the original people of Europe, you're talking about melanated people. I'm letting you know that Esau is not on this list. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Esau's not on this list, but Esau has claimed a title. Sometimes Esau called himself white. Sometimes Esau called himself American Indian. But because Esau has taken on the title, once again, switching up the roles, Esau's taken on this title. And so Esau gets the inheritance, because these terms don't have anything to do with Esau at all. Term white and the term American Indian has nothing to do with Esau at all. Has nothing to do with Albions. It doesn't. But that's the title they have chosen, and so they get the inheritance. Whereas Jacob has taken on the term black, which means that you don't have any standing. It means you're dead at law. It means you have no true inheritance. It just means that the trustee has to give you the least amount, because they have to take care of you some kind of way, but you get the least amount, Esau, because of what you keep claiming. So I said all of that to say this. What are you calling yourself? That's going to determine what your inheritance is. And I want you to remember that there is a cyclical nature in everything that's going on. And of course, people will say, oh, the Bible is allegorical. It's not even real. Well, let me say something to you. In my research, yes, the Bible has been tampered with. Those stories have been switched around and moved around and what have you. But they have a historical accuracy. All right. Not only that, but just when we're talking about allegory, we're talking about a story that's used to teach you a lesson. Your whole life, every second, every minute of your day is allegory. because the universe is constantly talking to us to teach us a lesson. So just because it's allegory doesn't mean that it's not real, doesn't mean that it doesn't hold value, because I'm letting you know that when you read those stories in the Bible, then you can see history in the making, and you can see the cyclical nature of this third dimension. And I'm letting you know right now that the same way back then with Jacob and Esau, where the roles were switched because somebody was taking on a title that didn't belong to them, it's the same thing that's happening today, only it's with a different skin color. Back then, it was the brown skin tricking the light skin. Now it's the light skin tricking the brown skin out of their inheritance. And I'm letting you know, if you want to gain access to that inheritance, make sure you know what you're supposed to be calling yourself. All right. Now, with that being said, all my people, thank you so much once again for getting the book. I really do appreciate your support. We are here at UNARepublic and UNA University. We thank you so much, and we appreciate your support. The book is on the way. Make sure you check your spam folder. All right, so you can make sure you have the right address so we can send it off to you. And the book is on back order for those of y'all who want to now purchase again. All right, you can purchase, if you didn't get that book, you'll be able to purchase it because it is now on back order. All right. And so everybody will be able to get it. All right. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm yours truly, Diva Lyri. I'm out of here. I hope that this information found you well. And we're going to catch you next time. Friday. See y'all Friday. I'm out. Peace. Diva. Bye-bye.